Hello, how are you doing? Today we are going to look at key area 6, which covers the structure of the heart and the blood vessels around it. Firstly, we'll look at the structure and function of the heart. So our learning intentions in this section of the video are to learn about the different structures of the heart and their function. You'll be successful if you can remember the basic structure of the heart, describe the blood flow through the heart, name the valves of the heart, and look closely at a real heart to identify key structures. So you don't need to stick a heart diagram into your jotter because you're on the internet. You can look at the heart on the bottom of one of the pages. It looks like this. I think it's around page 27 or so. Have a look, see if you can label as much as you can from National 5. Okay, so label in this round we have, stay all those away, we have blood returning from the body to the right side of the heart. Because of the fact that we are looking down on a heart, this person, this is their left side and this is their right side. So on the right side, we have coming in from above and below, we have the vena cavas. This is called the superior, this is the inferior. These vessels enter the right atrium. When we come around to it, blood will also be entering the left atrium through the pulmonary veins here. And due to some electrical things that happen with the brain and the heart, we'll talk about later, the atria contract. The blood is pushed down the way through to the right ventricle and the left ventricle from the other side. And there's then a short period of relaxation of the chambers above. The bottom of the heart is then contracted again through electrical signals that we'll talk about later, and the blood moves up through here through these through these semilunar valves. The blood is not able to go back into the atria due to the valve system. We've just talked about the blood vessels of the body and the veins, so we understand that the valves will prevent backflow. The blood will exit, it will go through this, which is the pulmonary artery, out to the lungs, it will be oxygenated, and it will return back to the left atrium, be compressed here, pushed into the left ventricle, out into the body through the aorta, and then back to the start again. So this is what your diagram should currently have. There is also the fact that it says you're supposed to use page 164 from the textbook, so that textbook picture doesn't really match yours very well. I wouldn't say, so you can use either you want. You should also label the AV valve here. You can write AV valve here if you want. That delineates that it's an atrioventricular valve. We'll talk about the AV node and the SAN node later in the course. But yeah, really the previous picture is equally as good. There's a numbered section here if you want to pause and just really try and challenge yourself. You can try and name all these different parts. Once you've done that, you can have a go at this. You can think about inferior and superior. What does that mean? So the blood coming from above the heart comes through here, subclavian, through the superior vena cava, and blood coming from below comes in through the inferior. So superior above, inferior below. There's a YouTube click here, you can have a go at that. I'm going to enclose the PowerPoints that I'm using at the moment on today's assignment, so you can click on this and look at a heart beating. So here are some of the valves. We understand that the valves prevent backflow, so when the ventricles contract, blood is pushed up. And similarly, when there's a relaxation of the heart, we don't want blood that hasn't quite got over the aortic arch falling back into the ventricles for a variety of reasons. So there's valves here to stop. We have the semilunar valves, which are the ones that, the ones here are the semilunar valves. And we have the AV valves. So on the right, we have the tricuspid valve, and on the left, we have the bicuspid. There's other words like mitral you'll see if you look on the internet. That's what's really, really important, that you don't look on the internet and you just use the RT and biology resources. So with semilunar valves going through aorta and pulmonary artery, and just atrioventricular valves, you don't really need to know the proper names, on the right and left atrioventricular walls. Again, you can use the PowerPoint to look at this. These are beating hearts. So make sure you've labelled your heart properly, and you can colour it in with reds and blues to show oxygenated and deoxygenated, marking your diagram off as you go. And if you want, you can go to most things. Sainsbury's, Morrison's especially is very good at this. For about £3, you can buy 3 or 4 lamb's hearts from the meat section in Morrison's. All supermarkets sometimes stock it. If you ask, they'll be able to find you if they have it. If they don't, you can go to a butcher and they'll be able to source you hearts, and just cut them up. It's quite good to have fun. Work out if you can feel the difference between the left side of the heart, which is thicker walled, and the right side, which is thinner walled. Left side of the heart feels a bit like if you push against your bicep just now. You can feel that you're pushing even when relaxed against muscle. Whereas that's the left side. The right side is a lot more like just pushing against the side of your cheek. There is a certain resistance, but there's really not a lot of a wall. Once you work out which side switch, just stick your fingers, obviously clean your hands afterwards, stick your fingers down one of the vessels where they open at the top of the heart. And wherever your finger ends up, that will tell you which vessel you've just stuck your finger down. So if you stick your finger in a vessel and you end up all the way at the bottom of the left ventricle, so you feel the walls and you think, oh, my finger's in the left ventricle, you've stuck your finger in the aorta. If you stick your finger in and you end up in the left atrium, that tells you you're in the pulmonary vein. If you stick your finger in, you end up in the right atrium. That was the vena cava, one of the superior or inferior. You can see there's lots of branches. And if you stick your finger in and it goes to the bottom of the right ventricle, you've gone into the pulmonary artery. It's genuinely how most people do it. Okay, in the next video, we will look at cardiac function and heart output.